Also, friends that have worked at your company and have wonderful things to say. But you have been accused in the past of making lewd and sexist comments and fostering a frat-like culture at your company that was uncomfortable for some female employees. ABC's actually spoken to several women who want to share their stories, but you won't release them from their NDAs. As Senator Warren put it, she was here last week. She said, if your company has an enviable record, what do you have to hide? Why not let
we don't have anything to hide, but we made legal agreements, which both sides wanted to keep certain things from coming out. They have a right to do that. But remember, just because you signed a non-disclosure doesn't mean you can't talk about other things. You just can't talk about what was in that agreement, where you say perhaps you don't disparage the other party or you don't want to retell the story because then whatever it is. But you don't take away anybody's rights to say what they want to say. They can continue to do that. They just made an agreement, and the company made an agreement that we wouldn't discuss a certain thing. And in most cases, settlements typically in an agreement like that would be made. Every company goes through the same thing. And so money changed hands and whatever.
In this Me Too era, though, is there a sense...
But if you look, we have very few. And I think you talk to most women in the company, they would say equal pay, equal promotion, equal opportunity. It's a great place to work. Did I ever tell a bawdy joke? Yeah, sure I did. And do I regret it? Yes, it's embarrassing, but you know, that's the way I grew up.
Bawdy.
Bawdy.
A bawdy.
Bawdy.
A bawdy joke. Oh, who hasn't?
Well, you said that, not me. Thank you. I was fishing for it.
So you have no desire to lift the NDAs to let people speak about what they want?
We have an agreement. We couldn't do it if you wanted to. And incidentally, I think an awful lot of the women would not want to do that.
Yeah.
There may be a few, but I don't think so. And we don't have that many of them. We have 20,000 people. We've been in business since 1981. And in recruiting, and, you know, I think most people would say we're a great place to work. At least I hope so. I can tell you that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Well, Mayor, we have seen a number of anti-Semitic attacks recently around the country, but specifically here in New York. Over Hanukkah, a man with a machete broke into someone's house, and you know, you can Google it. It's horrific. You are Jewish, and it's easy to call out, I think, white nationalism when you see it, and anti-Semitism with someone with a MAGA hat or on the alt-right. But Democrats, in my opinion, have been a lot more reticent to call it out on their side. As the first Jewish president, what would you do here in New York to help heal, but also in our country nationally? Because again, this is not a partisan issue, and for some reason, Democrats on the left seem to have a harder time calling it out.
I hope that's not true. Certainly, it looks like it sometimes. Yeah, and a lot of it on campus, which is just an outrage, because in campus, you would think that people understand campuses are a place to be inclusive and to let people say what they want to say, but not disparage others with anti-Semitic or anti-anything remarks. I think that it comes from the top. In the end, if the President of the United States said, we're not going to tolerate this, stop it. In your family, if your mother or father said that when you were a young kid, you would have stopped it. The mayor, the governor, everybody. We have a responsibility to set the moral tone and to tell people that are doing something wrong to stop it. And
I'm surprised it's happening here in New York City, because I think a lot of people, you know, think of this as a metropolis culturally in a lot of ways.
Racists everywhere.
Yeah, there are racists everywhere. I mean, take a look. I'm going to give a speech in Tulsa this weekend, and it's a place in Tulsa where there was a very not wealthy, but affluent community of African Americans who built a real complex.
Yes.
It was called Black Wall Street. And then one day a bunch of gangsters showed up and burned to the ground and killed a lot of people, and, you know, just an outrage. But using that as an example of what shouldn't happen, if you take a look at the inequalities in our country, average black family has 1/10 the wealth of the average white family. And if you can't afford to buy a house, you can't build wealth, because that's when most people build their savings with the house prices going up. There is no question there's a lot of inequality. Some of it is just nasty. Some of it really hurts.
You believe in reparations?
I have said that I would support a study, the logistics of it, and you can talk about it. What I do think is we have to do something about it. My solution, first level to all of these things, is education. I think without a good education, you start seeing a lot of other things. You don't have the economic opportunities. So I have focused on education in New York City, and I'm very proud to say that in New York City, in 12 years, we reduced the gap between ethnic groups that scored at the top and ethnic groups that scored at the bottom, more than cut it in half. And outside measures came in, and I'm proud of. That's one number that I'm proud of. Another number is when I left office, the average New Yorker lived 3 years more than they did when I came in, and it was 3 years greater than the national average.
Yeah.
But if you can have one number that tells you a lot, and there are a lot of different things that go into these.